Okay, I have begun.
All right. And so have I in a couple of minutes here to give it a while there. All
Okay.
right. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 74 of Arknolia and the Doctor, our music memory series. The A to Z list of prog rock bands and artists continue. And I think we started on the C's, I think it was,
Yeah, we're going to start on the C's.
yeah. Now I tried to get YR onto the program, but apparently he was on his channel there doing some sort of a show. I guess it's prior to Mars Mirror going live on his channel, which will be at I guess about somewhere after 8 p.m. Central over here. And I was going to have joining. I'll probably call in later on. I know there's going to be discussing the whole bullshit that went on earlier this week on YR's 11-hour stream there. I know there was also other issues the morning afterwards, and of course on YR's morning mixture program on Wednesday morning there. So I know I'm just gonna. If you haven't heard the whole situation, what went down, go to YR's channel, the YR program, and listen for yourself on both the 11-hour stream and the morning mixer program that followed the next morning there, and you'll see what the hell we're talking about there. And believe me, it is holy moly. It is chaos to the full maximum.
Hmm.
But for now, it's going to be our, as we said, our continuing list of the prog rock artists of yesterday and today in our A to Z list there. And we're going to start off with the C's there, since we did the A's and B's this past Monday there.
Okay, first one I got on the list is Camel. And
Camel.
Camel is
Camel?
a good one. C-A, the animal.
Ah, that's interesting there.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, if you ever want to hear a great frog song, you need to listen to something called Lunar Sea.
Lunar Sea, I see there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting there. Shout
Yeah,
out to Ronald Booth in my chat there. What up, dude?
yeah, good to see him.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good there.
they're mostly instrumental, and they've been around for a long time, since the 70s, actually.
Hmm.
And they were considered a major force in the prog industry.
All right, there. That's good to hear there, and probably underrated as well there.
Oh, yeah,
Many acts that we're covering here are they haven't really reached the potential that Genesis or Yes or Emerson, Lake and Palmer did back in the day there, but they did have their core audience. Keep that in mind there.
right.
And they do, and a lot of these groups do need to be acknowledged by the mainstream of today, especially today's mainstream.
Yeah. And the next one I got is Can,
I've heard of them. They're from Germany,
right?
and I mentioned one of them. I heard some of their stuff there, and I guess they had an Oriental man that's a singer there. I don't know his name there, but the only person I know who was involved with that group was a guy named Holger Kruzai, and I heard about him from a collaboration album he did with David Sylvain from the band Japan, which was a pre, I guess, pre new wave group, I guess. The dress all wavy hair and a gothicy kind of looking there, I guess you could say.
Right.
Now, the album that they did, two albums. The one that's still my favorite today from them is called Plight and Premonition. Came out in 1988. It was on the spin-off label from Virgin Records titled Venture Records. It was an experimental artist label there, one of them including a man I mentioned before, Bill Laswell, excellent bass player, by the way. And also we had, now, this album was two tracks, Plight, The Spiral of Winter Ghosts, and Premonition, Giant Empty Iron Vessel. This basically was an ambient album there. I used to play this album a lot when I would cruise around the Metro Beach area a few times during the winter time, at nighttime, you know, it, and the effects it would have on you would just be dynamic. It works best when you're in a wooded area, whether it's in Belle Isle, in back in Detroit, or one of the areas here in Texas where we live here. There's kind of like one of those Ritchie prissy household area where they have all these complex buildings there that you rent and live in. They almost look like mansions. I was listening to this album last night while taking a stroll, and it kind of reminded me of the times when I first heard that track, the second track on side two, on New Wave, Brave New Waves, which was a show out of Canada, Montreal, broadcasted on CBC One. When I heard that track, I was like, "Holy caroli, dude! Man, I got to get this album." And I was very fortunate to pick it up finally. Actually, not too long ago, I bought it in the same year. So definitely, that's my only understanding of the band Can was that one member. And sadly, by the way, Cruzai passed away in 2017. So, and I guess, but they were part of the krautrock scene along with early Kraftwerk, Klaus Schultze, Tangerine Dream, all those ones there. And this band, I guess their name is spelled N-E-U, New, I guess it's called.
Yeah, and if you go out to find some of these records, you have to look a while because they're not readily available.
You're going to have to go to a used record store to find all this stuff there. Any place like Walmart or Barnes & Noble, no can do, because this is stuff this is pretty obscure stuff. And right, as you know, the record labels today, they focus on the main sellers, the main stuff there. They focus on all that there.
Well, Amazon might have some of them. You never know.
That's true there. Who knows?
They do. I used to buy a lot of stuff off Amazon.
Wow, nice.
Next band I got is Caravan, and they're also from the 70s. They were a Canterbury type band, mainly active during the 70s.
Wow.
And they were entertaining too.
Okay, that's cool there.
Next one I got's not a group I'm not familiar with, Cast. It's a
Cast.
Mexican band that formed in the late 1970s who frequently appeared at organized Prog festivals during the 90s.
And their name is spelled C-A-S-T, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like as in cast, yes.
Right. Then you got the Cherry Five. They were an Italian band who finally released a second album in 2015. And I don't know when the first one came out. But the word finally tells me it was quite a while.
All right.
And the next one I show is one called Clear Light, one word to differentiate it, I guess, from the American band by the name of Clear Light. Two words.
I see there. Usually when they do that, I guess, is this band from this clear we're mentioning from the UK by chance?
French band.
They could probably have to add, I guess they would have to add a Clear Light France onto their name there. Because I remember there was a band called Wrathchild, American metal band, but they had to call themselves Wrathchild America because there was a UK band called themselves Wrathchild.
Yeah. This band is from the 70s and it says they were similar to early Gong, but closer to symphonic prog.
All right there. And I heard of the band Gone a few times there. One of their members is Steve Hillage. I guess he practiced some sort of Buddhism type religion, I guess it's called there. He's released a couple of solo records, and he also contributed with the Orb on one of their albums, UF Orb, which I have downloaded.
Then you got Cold Fairyland.
I think I've heard of that name.
A band from Shanghai.
Oh, from China.
Yeah. That is rooted in traditional Chinese music.
Oh, nice. So they mix a little bit of that within rock and roll, I guess you could say there.
Yeah.
Which is original because not many bands would often do that.
Right.
I mean, that Native American band that you mentioned, Redbone, was an interesting combo there.
Yeah. Okay, next one I got is Coliseum. They were also around in the 70s.
Ah,
Then Curved Air around in the 70s.
I heard of that name as well. Yes. Hmm.
And that pretty much does it for the C's.
Okay, now to the D's there.
Dead Can Dance.
Oh my goodness gracious. The husband and wife duo of Brendan Perry and Lisa Gerard. They've recorded many albums for the 4AD label of England. One of their classic songs from then was the ubiquitous Mr. Lovegrove. This was a favorite in all the goth clubs out there. I remember hearing it multiple times back in Detroit. Still a favorite to this very day. I mean, the voice of Lisa Gerard is absolutely phenomenal. She often sings in sort of a foreign language, I guess. They would mix in a lot of Arabic rhythms into their music there, a lot of Arabic percussion as well there. And they released a lot of stuff. In fact, Nancy, who I spoke about a few times, my departed girlfriend there from years back, her favorite song was Cantiana. I think that's how it's been pronounced there. It's been long since I've heard that track there. That was one of her favorite songs from them. You know, she would get wild and crazy on the dance floor when that song was played multiple times. And gosh, I don't know what they're doing now. From what I remember, Gerard did some collaborations with Klaus Schultz. I guess they did a show together and an album together as well there. But her and Brendan Perry are still together, I guess. I don't know if they have put out any new music as of late, but it would be nice, because they came up with some great rhythms there, great stuff there.
A lot of times, a lot of these people do put out new music, but it never gets pushed because of the record labels.
Yeah, well, and again, I guess I don't know if 4AD is still functioning as a record label there, but I should probably look it up sometime to see if it's still. Tell you what, let me look it up there because I've been wondering to know myself all these little indie labels that we used to hear about back in the day, like Cleopatra out of California, Metropolis out of Philadelphia. I know Wax Trax has been dead and gone there.
Right.
It's very sad. All these. There we go. There 4AD Records. Okay, let me. What's there? Okay, let's look it up to see if it's still existing there. Okay, 4AD record label there. They had it's a record label owned in the UK based Beggars Group. It was founded in London under the name Axis by Ivor Watts, Russell, and Peter Kent in 1980. It's an imprint of the label called Beggars Banquet. The name was changed to 4AD after the release of the first 4 singles there, blah, blah, and it has to, it's based out of London. It's, here it goes. In late 19, they purchased the label off Beggars Banquet to become an independent record label. Then the following year, Kent sold his share to Watts Russell, and the game that the label gained a lot of predominance in the 1980s and 90s for post-punk, gothic rock, dream pop, alternative rock like Modern English, Dead Can Dance, Bauhaus, Planet Zymox, Pixies, one of their other big names on that label, Throwing Muses, Belly, and This Mortal Coil. Now the label scored the international hit with the dance music single Pump Up the Volume, which here in the States was released on Island Records there. Now, they continued to have success in the 90s and 2000s with the releases by The Breeders, Lush, Red House Painters, Camera, Obscura, TV on the Radio, St. Vincent. Yeah, the same Vincent that we know today, the female artist. Interesting. And Bon Iver. As of 2021, the label's current roster includes acts such as Daughter, Deer Hunter, Big Thief, Purity Ring, and Future Islands, and The National. Many times. Wow, there. And so that, thank goodness that label's still running there.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Well, yeah, it is pretty good there. All right.
Let's see, what do I have next? Oh, it's a band you probably heard of.
Yes.
Deep Purple.
Oh my gosh. And we did a special on them a couple weeks back there.
Yeah.
Yep. And remember, this doesn't mean you don't have to be total metal to experiment a few times there.
Right. In fact, their first 3 albums were largely experimental.
Very experimental, including the one that I had, the one called Shades of Deep Purple. That was their first record there.
Right.
And it was very experimental stuff, a different version of the Beatles' Help, an iconic cover of Joe South's Hush, and of course a couple of good instrumentals like the opening track from that album titled And the Address.
Right.
But a lot of that stuff was very experimental at that time there.
Yeah, because although Ritchie Blackmore was there, it was largely John Lord influenced.
Yeah, it's true there. Usually most of the keyboard players in some of these bands have a big influence on the band's music nowadays, I guess you could say there.
Right. Yeah, and then their Mark II was largely metal, but they still experimented with prog.
Yeah, they did a lot of times. I mean, like the piece "Child in Time,"
right?
Which was very haunting when you listen to it there, especially with Ian Gillan's high-pitched vocals there.
Oh yeah.
When it gets to the middle section there, you know what I'm talking about there.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna have to really hold on to his. I guess you could say he was really holding on to his nutsack while he was making those screams there. When you think about it, to keep him from falling off.
Yeah. Okay, next one I got is a band called Demon Fuzz. An English band that played progressive rock, soul, and funk with influences from psychedelic, soul, jazz, acid rock, and world music. So they tried to do it all.
All right there. I think Foulmouth Ken is in my chat here. If it's you, Ken, you want to come join the show there and give your input on what we're talking about here? We'll let you in, dude. Let me know in the chat if you're available.
Next one is actually, I forgot the definition of the word, Deus Ex Machina. They take it from, I forgot, I used to know this. Unfortunately, I'm old. Well, I don't know if that's unfortunate. I mean, at least I lasted this long. They were a 90s Italian rock band that updates the 1970s Italian progressive rock style.
All right. Okay.
Then you had the Dillinger Escape Plan.
I heard of that many times. I guess that's emo or alternative band, I think it's called.
Well, they're supposed to be prog.
Right there. I remember hearing that name a couple times, so I just haven't really been able to check out what they sound like there.
Yeah, now we've got Discipline.
All right. The band Discipline.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Led by the Matthew Parmenter, combined the styles of Genesis and Van der Graaf Generator.
Because I remember, I was thinking about this. I remember this little scenario. When King Crimson decided to reform back in 1981 with the fourth lineup there, they was originally supposed to call themselves Discipline. But I guess EG Records, their UK label, said, hey, call it King Crimson, for I understand. Yeah. Robert Fripp has had so many lineups of that band, so who would know the difference? And turns out it would have been a good investment because King Crimson would, at that time, earn themselves a new audience and a new sound there.
Right.
They would go from the prog rock into the prog 80s new wave movement there when you look at it.
Yeah.
The post-punk. All right.
Next one I got is Dixie Drags.
I've heard of that band many times. And we all know the guitarist Steve Morse, who's the current guitarist for Deep Purple.
Right.
He also was a member of Kansas for a while there. He played on a couple of their earlier albums, Power and The Spirit of Things, back in the 80s when he came back.
Never mind, I'm thinking of a different band.
Okay.
I was going to say, if I remember right, they play a lot of covers, but that's a different band.
Okay. And
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to ask you what the name of the band. Was it the Dixie Drags that they were referring to?
No, I think a Government Mule, actually. I don't know how I got the two of those confused.
Oh, I've heard of Government Mule a few times. I guess you were a favorite of James Hetfield of Metallica at one point there.
Yeah. Next one I got, we discussed about 3 or 4 weeks. No, actually, we just discussed about 2 weeks ago. The Doors.
Oh, yeah, that's right there. Yes. And we know there's a history that we already you have to look at that episode of the Doors special that we did, to know what we're talking about. You have to go back to that episode. I'll just say this, and I'll say something that Henry Rollins from Black Flag did say. They were the antidote that contained the disease.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty good description.
Yep.
It's probably one of my favorite all-time groups.
All right.
Next one I got is another pretty good band, Dream Theater.
We heard of that band many times. They're still around. In fact, their guitarist John Petrucci, he has just come out with a signature guitar, an 8-string signature Majesty guitar, not too long ago.
Yeah.
Now he has a regular 6-string Majesty signature guitar there, made of course by the Ernie Ball Music Man Company there. But this one he has just displayed. I saw the ad on Facebook. It is 8 strings. 8 strings, dude. Now that's going to be interesting to play with when you think about where the other strings go to. You could possibly tune them down, go to the upper ones where they'll be extremely lower. I guess you could say there.
Yeah, it's but it'd be an interesting to play because how do you get all your fingers on?
I guess you have to have large hands. I guess you have to have the absolute know-how to operate those fingers when you think about it there.
And at least 4 more fingers.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Because it's hard enough playing the 6-string with 4 fingers and a thumb.
Well, it's not hard when you really have. We've been playing for many, many years there. So I guess it may be a lot more. It may be a lot more interesting to learn when you really master the art of the 6-string. You could possibly master the art of the 8-string if you can there.
Right.
But would be interesting there. The one guitar you had to really work hard to master is the war guitar that I mentioned a couple of times in the past there. That son of a bitch is, that son of a bitch is going to be massively hard to master there. You got to have to take about 3.5 weeks to actually learn everything about how to play it correctly there.
Yeah, actually, I played a 12-string.
All right, there. Nice.
They're fun to tune.
Yeah, that's true there.
And it's sarcasm.
I know. It's, by the way, we're talking a regular 6-string guitar there.
Right.
Yeah, not the war guitar.
Well, that's it for the D's. Let's move on to the E's.
Okay, there you go there.
East of Eden.
All right, I've heard of that name. A few times there.
Which actually I think was a Star Trek episode too, but hey.
Yes, I'm Emmy.
I'm guessing. The next one I got is Echolin.
Mm-hmm.
It's among the more prominent prog bands of the 1990s, with metaphysical, literary-inspired lyrics.
Interesting there. So you have to really deep down look into the lyrics, the deep down to find out what they're talking about, because they're discussing some interesting, different subjects.
Then you got Edison's Children,
Uh-huh.
which had a guy whose last name I can't pronounce, a Marillion, and another guy whose name I can't pronounce.
Oh, wow.
With a... My eyes are going on me.
Oh, wow. Oh, careful there.
Blackwood, featuring Rick Armstrong, son of first man on the moon. Interesting, Neil Armstrong.
Oh, wow. Interesting there.
Then we got Egg, which had Dave Stewart on keys. Elbow, English rock band with progressive leanings.
All right.
Oh, they got Electric Light Orchestra in this list.
Wow, cool there, because they were like massive.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because their earlier albums, including the No Answer album, was massively prog, mostly violins, mostly cellos.
Right. And then you had Eloy, which was a German band most prominent during the 1970s, but who have continued to perform through lineup changes.
All right. Massive ones, I think, yes, right?
Yeah. Next one is another band you possibly heard of. Yes. Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh, like the back of our hands. We all know the story behind them.
Yeah, we spent a little time on them. Then you had Emerson, Lake and Powell.
Yeah, which featured the late Cozy Powell when Greg wasn't even, when I guess Carl Popper was unavailable at that time. He was still involved with that group Asia. So they decided, release one album. I don't know if they did a tour, but it had some good stuff there. The song Touch and Go was a good radio hit there. I remember seeing the video on the old MTV back then.
Oh, when it was music television?
Absolutely. Years before it became the Real World Television, Road Rules Television, Jersey Shore TV, The Hills TV, Teen Mom TV there.
I haven't seen that channel in so long.
Now it's the Catfish channel there.
Next one I got is... Go ahead.
Go ahead. And it's also the Ridiculousness channel there.
Yeah, I can go along with that.
Absolutely. God knows how many marathons of that show have been going on, along with marathons of Catfish. For crying out loud.
Next one I got England. They were a late 1970s group.
You know what?
British.
Yeah, no, I can. Oh, yeah, it would definitely by the name you could tell be the British there. In fact, I heard one of their tracks when they on the YouTube video where they were talking about the many uses of a mellotron, and I was listening to that. I was like, "Holy cow, that's interesting!" There.
Yeah.
I still want to learn how to play one of those dang things, man. I would get me once. Hoping I would get me a device where you could make a guitar sound like a mellotron. That would be way, way better there.
If it exists, Adrian Ballou knows about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember seeing a couple of videos on it on YouTube, so definitely should look into that sometime soon there.
Then you got The End, which is a British band. Yeah.
The End, which is, I guess, interesting. I guess he may have got the title from the Doors track, if I'm correct there. If not, they probably got it from other things like the end of those movies and TV shows there. The End.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of different possibilities with that one.
Oh yeah, but we all agree it is a unique name for a band when you look at it there.
Yeah, and that pretty much does it for the E's.
All right, and on to the F's.
First band is a band I'm pretty familiar with. Late 60s, 70s band. Uh, Family. It
I've
was a
heard of
British,
that name as
yeah,
well.
it was a British band that contributed members to Blind Faith,
All right.
and
All
King
right.
Crimson.
Oh wow. Mm, let me guess. What then? Any of the names of these members that you're referring to by the chance?
I'd have to look them up.
Yeah, because there were so many members that were involved with King Crimson, it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, but there was only four in Blind Faith.
Yeah, we don't.
And
The ones I know are Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Jim Gordon, and Ginger Baker, if I'm correct.
I don't know about Jim Gordon. I thought it was Rich Scratch.
Which scratch? Then let me look it up on the YouTube. What am I talking about? Blind Faith Band. Okay, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I'm going to look on my phone here. Give me a couple of minutes there. Okay. Blind Faith Band. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Okay, you're right. It's Rick Gretsch,
He
Ginger
must have been
Baker,
the
Eric.
Family guy.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely there. Steve Winwood, Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and Rick Gretsch. And that only one album they put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shame, because that could have been a truly magnificent group.
I know. I don't know what happened. Was it chemistry or whichever there or what?
Oh, I don't know. That one album sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess they took to heart that song about do what you like, and they didn't.
I did follow that to the full T there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so on to the list there. The F's,
Fish.
the band Fish.
Well, no, it says former Marillion lead singer.
Oh, okay, my bad there. I remember hearing that name when I first heard of Marillion there.
Yeah.
I remember the song Kaylee that came out in 1985 there. It was a pretty mellow song there. I remember, it was on the old MTV there.
Yeah. Next one I got is Flash. You
All
want to
right.
talk about some risque album covers? They had them.
Oh, wow. Flash. And I guess they had a lot of nude bodies on there.
You could say that.
All right, let me look it up there. The band Flash. Okay, Flash album covers. Okay, there. Okay, I see what you're talking about. I see what we're talking about here. Have a lot of. I see what you're talking about there.
Yeah, I had
Featuring
those albums.
featuring England's Peter Banks.
Yep, right after you left, yes.
Yeah, you mean
They had a
Peter?
fairly,
Oh,
they had a
I
fairly
see.
song that a cut version was released as a single, but it was a pretty
Mhm.
big long version on one of the albums called Small Beginnings.
Um, I see what you're talking about on the other Flash in the Can. I see what you're talking about there. They have a lot of, they got a thing for nude women, I guess you could say there, and
Well,
certain
I can
body parts.
understand that. I kind of do too.
So do I, man. So do I.
Then you got the Flower Kings.
Hmm. I don't think I've heard of that band there,
They
by
were
chance.
symphonic prog
Oh, okay.
from Sweden.
Oh,
They were active in the 1990s for the most part,
all right there.
but they were a pretty good group.
Okay.
Then the next group we got is a mainly instrumental Dutch group who are best known for their top 10 single, the 1971 song Hocus Pocus.
Focus.
Yep.
Absolutely. They still played on this. I think that was their only hit, if I'm correct.
It was the only big song that was a hit. They had others that were minor.
Mm. Yeah, but we've always looked at that song there because it's probably the most dynamic and most powerful.
And recognizable.
Absolutely there. La 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 la. Yep. And that's their voices, by the way. They're not some choir there.
Yeah. Then, of course, you got Robert Fripp.
Oh, yeah, the man himself. One of the big reasons why I started learning the guitar again. As I mentioned, I discovered his band, King Crimson, from a couple of records that I found at a Value World store there, a thrift shop there. And when I looked at it and I said, "Wow, these are unique. I've heard of this band before on the radio, but haven't heard any of their stuff there." So I picked it up. It was In the Wake of Pedizian and Lizard that I would listen to and said, "Wow, this is some like more wilder than the Moody Blues," because this group had the mellotron as one of their main instruments. So I listened to it and they became hooked. I started buying other records from them, like Islands, In the Court of the Crimson King, Large Tongues and Aspect, Starless and Bible Black. And I started, I wanted to play guitar once again because I stopped for a couple of years there. And as Fitz to say, Robert Fripp is the reason why I picked up that instrument once more. So
that'll do it.
Got it. And plus, Fripp has released a number of releases on his own. Exposure, God Save the Queen / Under Heavy Matters. He worked with Peter Gabriel. He also produced Daryl Hall's album Sacred Songs back in 1980.
Yeah.
And I guess the story was that his album Exposure was supposed to go along with one of the Peter Gabriel solo albums. I don't know if it was the third or the second or the third, but also the Daryl Hall album that I mentioned was supposed to come as a trio, I guess you could say there.
Yeah.
He also produced a group called, I forgot the name was called, This is an all-female group there. Forgot their name, but Fripp did definitely produce their album there. He's also done a project with his wife, singer Toya Wilcox, I meant to say. He's did 2 albums with David Sylvain. He's also did 2 albums with Andy Summers of The Police back in the 80s there.
And he collaborated once with Brian Eno.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple albums there. Evening Star, No Pussyfootin', which basically was a kind of a prelude to the ambient sound that we now know it as.
Right.
Yeah.
Heard of Frost?
Wait a minute. And I shall also include with Fripp saying he's still experimenting to this very day when you look at it there.
Yeah.
He still is. So definitely a much credit to Robert Fripp, who, by the way, is now back on the road with King Crimson. It is called the Music Is Your Friend Tour.
Oh.
I don't know if they'll be coming to Houston or any of the areas pretty soon there, but it is a 7-man lineup with 3 drummers.
Wow.
Absolutely. I saw a couple of clips of it there. All right. Lady Frost, you said it was?
No, Frost.
Was the next? Just Frost. Okay,
Yeah, they're neo-progressive band from the 2000s.
All right, nice. I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, and then you got Frumpy,
Frumpy?
a German prog band.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was the name of a cartoon character at first.
From the early 70s.
Ah, I see there.
With female vocals.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. A lot more of that than there used to be.
All right.
Which I
guess, yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, wow. How many female female front women did they have?
Back then, not a heck of a lot of them.
Oh, wow. But I guess a lot of them got left and decided to I guess these amount of changes kind of occurred after the 70s, I take it, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's the same thing with Black Sabbath.
Then you got the Fusion Orchestra.
Hmm. The Fusion Orchestra. That's interesting. Interesting name there.
Yeah, I don't know anything about them,
Hmm.
but it sounds like somebody I might want to look into.
Oh, absolutely there, yeah.
Then I got the Future Kings of England.
That's an interesting name there.
Yeah, I bet they're from the UK.
Yeah.
I would think so anyway.
For a minute, I thought you was going to mention the future sound of London because of the future name leading off the name there. Which, if you did get, I'm hoping they're on the list by chance because I was a big fan of them throughout the '90s. There.
No.
Oh, dang gummit.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, they're more. Well, the future sound of London is more electronic, more
Well, that could be
ambient
because
dance pop.
I just
Yeah.
noticed Fate's Warning's not on this list, but again, they're more of a. They're not
Metal.
really prog. They're more metal.
Absolutely, a lot pure metal, I guess you could say there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that group actually.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to move on to the G's because we don't have a lot of time left. You
Oh
got
yeah.
any stuff you know about that might be interesting?
Well, I know not really that much at the moment here, but I do know that possibly we could get Gatekeeper Drew from Derailed News and Podcasts on here on the show, possibly Monday.
Oh, okay.
Because I did it because I was on YR's program that Tuesday night, and he was on there. We of course try to get some knowledge through Bullfrog's thick skull as always, but of course him not knowing which one watched there. So basically, I DM'd him on Twitter not too long ago. He said I was hoping to have him here tonight, but he's occupied with his work there.
Right.
So possibly when we go live on Monday, he'll be available this coming Monday.
Okay. Yeah,
All right,
we'll be in the G's at that point.
absolutely there, and we know a couple of bands that are on that there
Yeah, I'm
as well.
betting Genesis shows up. Ha ha.
Yeah, yep, absolutely there. All right, so we was unable to get YR. I was hoping to get Tony from Revere onto the show to join in as well. You know, I guess we I don't know if we caught YR off by surprise or what is he? Like I said, I was told by Bullfrog that YR kind of forgot about the show there
Right.
that we were supposed to do today. So hopefully this time we'll have both Gatekeeper Drew and YR on the show there. So okay, so apparently, anybody who was watching the YR show probably was upset that YR had to end the program like he did. I jumped on there and I was ready to do the show, YR, and it's like all of a sudden, I guess it kind of caught him off guard. So if anybody was upset that YR's program was upset when I joined the call, I said, I'm sorry. I just want to say, I thought YR remembered that we were going to do our show.
That's okay. Like I said,
All right, and
what is,
all right there. And by the way, I made this little about regarding the situation between Prince Idol and Bullfrog on YR's channel on late Tuesday night, which Ark you got to check out to hear the full details. I guess this bullshit after me and Drew were trying to get advice through Bullfrog's head there, which is all available there. We were, I guess some shit went down between Prince Idol and Bullfrog, and I guess, Prince Idol got himself in a whole heap of trouble now there. And they were discussing it Wednesday morning on YR's Morning Mixture program with Bozy, Famov Ken, and Bullfrog himself. Now, I've been thinking about this, and I decided to make this vow. I'm not going to condemn Bullfrog no more. I realize now that, we all knew, but we were trying to help the guy, realize a few things there. But it's kind of hard to do that when you have someone with a mental handicap. And
Right.
that's what Frog is. He's on SSI, he's unable to work because of this mental handicap. I'm not going to go off and call him retard. I'm not going to go off on him, call him stupid, fat mongoloid, or any of that stuff. I'm not going to do that no more,
Yeah.
The reason why we all go off on him is because we're trying to get things through to his head, but he's not grasping what we're trying to tell him. And when that happens, we are going to get upset. We're going to get frustrated. We're going to start yelling our heads off, blowing our lids, and everything else.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not going to yell at Bullfrog no more. I'm not going to mention his niece or any of that because, so I understand, a lot of shit went down when that was brought up on that program there. So I'm going to let it go at that,
Yeah.
So we look forward to seeing you this coming Monday. We'll
Right.
possibly are back on the realm, and also Gatekeeper Drew. Hopefully he'll be on the show this coming Monday as well there. Okay. I guess that's the end of our show for the time being.
Yeah.
All right, and we lead off with the G's as we mentioned there. For Arknolia,